Hello, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Just sitting playing with Jackson.
Oh, nice.
What are you doing?
Just hanging out.
Sounds stuffy.
Oh yeah, good. Getting excited to go to bed after this.
It's like 9 o'clock. It's bedtime for me most of the time.
I cannot wait to go to bed.
Yeah.
Hmm. What up, Jason?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
Hey, there you are. I was gonna say I got a blank screen, but I
Uh-huh.
don't now. How you been doing?
Pretty good. I'm tired, exhausted. Gonna go to bed after.
I hear you. I hear you.
Where we get this done, it'll be like going sideways as we end it.
Actually, normally work wears me out, but plowing snow, it kind of, makes you all excited, I worked 12 hours yesterday and went in at 4 this morning and got off at 4 and 2.5 today. And then tomorrow going at 4 again. So more road trip time.
Plowing snow makes me excited. Never heard that one before.
It does. I like it.
It's all perspective, I think, man. I like it. All right.
So what's new? Where's everybody at?
Comes Portia coming in. Amber should be. Amber should be in.
Hey, Amber. Hey, Portia.
Amber's not in yet. She should be coming in though.
Oh, okay.
Portia's in here. Lauren's in here.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
Hey guys.
Let's see. Here comes Amber.
How long are you in Arizona for before you go back to New York?
Oh. Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm not in Arizona.
I was thinking you're in Arizona. You're in New York now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's why I'm freezing my little off over here.
Oh. Yeah, it's supposed to get like 20 degrees here tonight.
Oh, no thanks.
Man, I guess I shouldn't
cheating.
tell you guys that our weather was completely bipolar and it was 74 degrees here today. And it's supposed to be 77 tomorrow.
Wow.
That was about right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
it was
gonna make
20
them.
It was 28 last week and now it's in the 70s.
You're gonna
We
make
could be getting
Michael
snow.
turn this off and go to Arizona.
Oh, I'm in North Carolina.
Yeah, I need sun very soon. Can't take that from here.
Yes, I agree. I'm starting to look like Casper.
Wait, what do we got here? Oh, screen. I was like, what is that? Okay, that's Amber.
Sorry, I'm
No,
stoking the fire.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was like, who's in there? And I can't see. Like, oh.
I'm sorry. Hey guys.
Yo.
Hey, Amber,
Hi.
Oh, yeah.
that looks warm.
You can just leave it on there so we can use it as a background.
Yeah, warmer than outside.
Let's rock and roll because I'm gonna go to bed ASAP.
Maddie, what's wrong?
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. Yeah, all right, climbing the mountain. So I got a couple my favorite people that I listen to and have always listened to or looked up to or have had in my circle for a while. A lot of their mixed suggestions to me or stuff I've listened to are kind of in this conversation. So that'll be a good time to talk about it than any. Like what we do, well, what I think most, we're always talking in generalities, right? We're not always just talking to this group. So we're talking about a topic, we're talking in generalities of us as the population. But like trying to get to somewhere, a level, top of something. It doesn't have to be, in life a success like work or anything or a position, but it could just be literally just like climbing a mountain. Like I'm gonna go climb a mountain tomorrow, and the goal is to get to the top of it, and that is the sign of success. That's the level of where you succeeded for the mission that day. You're gonna climb a mountain, you got to the top, you're done, right? That's kind of the goal. And
No, then you got to go back down sometimes.
yeah,
True.
roll down, fall down, hit everything on the way down. Which is also,
That's where the sliding begins.
Let's slide
Yeah.
back down.
yeah,
Yep.
which is a complete another conversation we could have too, falling down the tree, hitting every branch, But no, I think what's confused a lot about what the real reward is, that we're talking about during the climb, not to finish standing on top. And it's obviously, as you know, I'm just using the mountain thing as a metaphor, but the top of anything, getting there is not actually the reward. We do simple math and we say this plus this equals what I want, and then that's the reward, and then I win. But that's not how the human mind works. So if you look at it the other way, really the reward is the entire trip. It's the climb, it's the process, it's the getting there that is reward, even when it's shit. Because when we get to something or we succeed at it, we get it, we're wired in a way of it's accomplished. Now we believe in it. We know it can be done. It's accomplished. And maybe it doesn't right away for some of us value it maybe longer, but no matter what, at some point you will stop valuing it as you did before you had it or accomplished it. And it becomes less prioritized in your mind. Therefore, you care less about it. It's less important. You might not care if you lose it. You might not miss it if it's gone. All these things. And you might look to replace it, particularly replace it. So, changing the narrative, what the reward really is it standing on top and celebrating the fact that you're up there, standing on top, looking out over everything? Or is it the focus need to be more on the actual trip up, the actual climb itself, no matter what it is? So, that feeling we all get when we desire something so badly in life that we want, or a feeling that we want, or maybe it's unrealistic, or maybe it's unachievable, ungettable in our mind sometimes, or we just think it's going to take a while. Like we know we can get it, but it's going to be my future. Like when my 30s, I'm going to have that, or when I'm 50, I'm going to retire. Like we set these things like of success that when I get there, it'll be this, right? And that's okay. We're designed to do that. We're built to do that. We're taught to do that. But then you have you have that little time period, and it just naturally becomes less important to us. And the idea of losing it, like I said, it's not as much of a thing anymore, you know? If the only thing you had in your worldly possessions was that car you saved everything for, and it was everything to you and got your family to work and back, and it was everything you ever did to get to that point, and you got in a car accident and told that it was gone, you'd be devastated because so much was attached to it and is attached to it. Now, if you bought that and then you hit the lottery next day, you had $10 million, you get a new job and got $10 million, and that caught on fire in your driveway the next morning, but that sucks. I'll just get another one. You know, it's always about how we look at things and how attached is it to our lives and how important is it at the moment. But at any time that thing will start to lose interest to us because one, we either want to replace it, we can replace it, we replace it with a different goal or objective, person, idea, thing, place, doesn't matter what it is.
I think sometimes we focus so much on what the end result is that when we slow down to process it, we realize that it's not the end goal, but it is the journey getting to that end goal that is where, you know, the learning, the lesson, the memories, the accomplishment all comes to play.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not that we're not being grateful. That's not it. It's just naturally how we're designed as humans. I mean, it's actually a good thing. We're designed to keep climbing. This is the point of the message is it's to continue to climb, not to climb to get where you thought you wanted. It's to continue that and constantly be climbing. There is not a retirement at the end. There's not a bucket of gold at the end of the rainbow that you find, and then it's all good. You're just like, okay, it's over. It's all good. That's what I thought was going to happen. No, it's supposed to be a constant climb. The level or the top of the mountain you thought was at the beginning, that top, the people that are constantly going after it and understand this concept, that is just a mid-step goal.
You hit what I just said
entirely.
you hit what I just said the other day to our pastor. I said, we were talking and stuff, and he was in my shop, and he goes, yeah, you're going in 2 years. I said, yeah, right now I don't do too much church stuff at all because I'm always working and everything else, and no excuse, but it's true. But anyway, I said, but 2.5 years, you're going to see me down there a lot, just doing stuff, you know? So, 2.5 years, I'm done with work, but then I'm going to be, there's always another step, what you just said.
Yeah.
And being in church doesn't make you a Christian or anything like that. It's
Nope.
the everyday,
That's
what
right.
you're doing, your actions, what you're speaking and
said it.
living. That 100% is more so than, showing up.
Yeah, action, right? This
Yep.
this past year and a half has proven that to anybody, yourself and anybody around us, you don't have to physically be anywhere to show who your character is. And that's religion, that's who you are, it's anything. So yeah, it's a continued climb, Jason. You're 100% right.
Yep.
It's never setting it down and replacing it with the next thing that's achievable or maybe not achievable. But
Just like health, sometimes you're, a couple months ago, and then there's another step, and there's always steps. And just like somebody else on our video here, listed on it too,
Yep.
There's steps.
The top is an illusion.
True.
The top or whatever that goal you set originally is an illusion. And most of the time, like I said, for people that are aware of the longevity of the process or the climb, it's just a stepped goal oriented process for infinite reward of the journey. It's supposed to be a constant rewarding of the journey you're taking to get there. So, there's that saying that they say, what do they say? It's not they say it's the journey, not the destination.
Right.
But what they fail to mention in that statement is the journey is not our butterflies and godlike scenery for your eyes, just a witness. It's full of suffrage and pain and breakdowns and flat tires and running out of gas and arguments with your family and weather and accidents and all the stuff. We can go on forever about. That's the journey is full of that stuff. They don't say that. They say it's the journey, not the destination. But the journey is everything.
The journey is what makes you appreciate the destination.
Right. But then when you get to the destination, what do you tell
It's
the story in your brain? You never say, you don't just tell the 5 seconds you landed at the destination of that. You tell
the journey, what got you
people how
there,
you got there,
Yep.
why you left, why'd you start, why'd you go?
the triumphs.
Right. So the
Yeah, 'cause
destination,
the destination, it's over. It's the end
Right.
kind of whatever the thing was.
it's a
Exactly.
it's a very quick drug for the brain, and then it's gone.
I like how in some other religions or belief systems and things like the chop wood, carry water, rake the sand type of philosophies. I think what they're doing there is trying to break down the human psyche to understand that it's the mundane, it's the doing, it's the little tiny things in between. There is no big finale, and when that comes, that's usually like our eulogy or something.
Yeah. You know what I heard from one of my guys I was listening to is he was talking about in terms of this, he was talking about the lack, his lack of commitment. He takes more of an insult to the people that look up to him and look at him, right? Instead of, and he's talking about like the process of what he does every day, the journey, the hard work he puts in every day and nobody watches and sees. He's talking about, the lack of commitment to something for him is more of an insult to the people that have believed in him and look up to him and at him. So use that driving force of like, look, it's not over just because I won this fight or because I got that job or because I put 40 years in that my work and I'm retired. It's not over until the casket closes on your head or until they put you in that oven and burn you down and those logs Amber's doing there, until they cream us into ash. It's not over until it's done, to your last breath on this earth. So we all have plenty to do all the time. I hate the word retirement because it really is this trick that any government, anybody, they play on us to like say, when you're done putting all this time in and paying taxes, you can be free. And that's such bullshit. Like you can live retirement whenever you want if you stop calling it retirement. Right? It's not this jail or this time frame. They just do that because they say you can't get these benefits until you're that age. So you're going to have to wait. That's the shitty part of that, which is another topic in itself. But the point is,
You wait, you may not do it.
yeah, 100%. And look, how many people, Jason, you probably know more people in retirement. I know a ton of people these days that I've looked up to that when they got there,
They die or
it was just nothing.
they're doctor's
nothing.
appointments every day.
Or yeah, it was
They
just
can't.
nothing like they thought. There was no enjoyment in life. It was more stresses. It was more.
My dad told me a long time ago, and it's very true. I remember that when I was 15, 14, he goes, do everything while you're young. When you get old, it ain't all roses.
Right.
And I'm doing it.
So we can start whenever you want is the point there, right? And I think everybody here probably, I think everybody I can speak for in this enjoys what they do today. There's not a situation where it's like, I freaking hate my job. But if you look at the stats in our country alone, the majority lives in that state of mind. They absolutely despise waking up and going to their job every day because they cannot stand the work they do, they can't stand the wages they make, they can't stand their boss, but they cannot figure out a way to get out of the way because they're scared of losing the security of living, right? So majority is living in that hellhole, and that's unfortunate. But we have a choice. We always talk about that. We have a choice every day to change our pattern. But the real thing is, it's not like, oh, quit your job and do nothing and live free. It's
Whatever, Jay.
find another job that allows you to have some freedom in your mind. Right? It doesn't have to be always just about the money. We can all figure out how to spend less money. I can promise you that shit. I've learned that both ways, both times, very, very easily. Living in my car to living with more money I ever needed and then back again. So we can all figure that shit out. if we took our ego and put it off the table for 2 seconds and said, you know what, I don't need all this stuff. And we could make changes and live in a life that had more freedom and retirement qualities to it while we worked. Right. And then enjoy and truly enjoy the journey along the way, like actually enjoy the journey. And on Monday, when I went in, everybody's like, oh, I hate Mondays. Mondays suck. You know, everybody has this like shitty Monday mantra attitude. Oh, the weekend's over. I was all blessed. Dude, I love Mondays. Well, Mondays is a fresh start to the week. Like it's like brand new. It's like, you know, church was on Sunday. Monday's like, okay, let's get started on whatever we want to try again. Like Mondays are great, but it's only a mindset. And most people I know is like, tomorrow's Monday. Shoot me. It's like, okay, that's dramatic. But let me give you a real quick before I open it up. There's this Chinese farmer little thing. Some of you guys might have heard this, but I think this is a great way to like look at things and be both sided. So this Chinese farmer, this old Chinese farmer, had a horse and it ran away one day, and the whole town came around him and said, you know, that's terrible. And he replies,
Is it?
maybe. And the next day, 7 wild horses show up to his property and stay. And the town's like, oh my God, that's so great. And the farmer says, maybe. The next day, his son goes out, takes one of the new horses out, is riding it, breaks his leg, falls off, breaks his leg. Town's like, oh my God, so horrible, your son broke his leg. He goes, maybe. Next day, conscription officers come in to draft him for the war, all the young kids in town. They bypass his son because he has a broken leg. The town says, oh my God, it's great. Your son doesn't go to war. He looks at him and says, yeah, maybe. The moral of the whole story about the farmer is we don't know what's good or bad. We don't know what's great or terrible. Literally, we don't even know if something's bad or good for us because we don't know how it's going to affect the rest of our life because it's just happening. Right? So when we're on the journey and I said all that list of things, breakdowns and flats and runs, I'm listing all these negative things, but you know, running out of gas might bring you to a gas station that you run into Jason and his father. Losing the directions in a town where you can't find where somewhere to eat might pull you into a lot that me and my sister weren't supposed to be in that day. You understand where I'm going with this? Like the journey is the thing. That's all we have. It's the only thing we have. You stand up on top of that mountain, you think that's the most important thing? Guess what? You're by yourself on the top of the mountain. You ain't doing shit. You're gonna run into nobody. You ain't gonna ask for me help. You're not gonna see how resilient you are, how strong you are, where your mental toughness is, where your physical, you're not gonna know anything. You're just gonna be up there celebrating your win, your W with nobody. Everything that's important is on the journey.
Can I just say something before you open it up? I just want to say that the read
I mean, I could just open it up. You want to say something?
well, the redirection of where we thought we were going and where we went to is the whole reason why we were brought together, right? We were all redirected in a way, and that's why we were all brought together.
Correct. And that's
So I just
that is
that was beautiful because that's like a blessing. So
that's exactly it. Well said. That's exactly the journey because we don't know. You know, we don't know until after, and sometimes it's a long time after. You know, death is one of those crazy things where really hard to understand until you understand. You know, you just don't get it until you get it. And sometimes it happens soon, sometimes it happens years down the road. Because it's a hard thing to conceive, it's a hard thing to take in, but that is with everything in life. That is being late for work. You know, Lauren told us that story about that day where she was the only witness. Like, these things aren't accidents. These are part of our journeys. They're supposed to test us, will us, you know, see what our faith is like, see where we are as human beings, see how we react, see where we go. That is life. That is the journey. That is the reward. The thing at the end should only be, if you start to understand that, should only start being steps that you put on the way to get to take a breather so you can just continue the climb. It shouldn't be the top. There is no top of a mountain. That's just a physical thing. That's actual mountain. There's a top of it, but nobody gives a shit you got to there. Okay. Nobody actually gives a shit. Take your Instagram photo and send it to the world, get all your likes, but nobody really gives a shit. I
Well,
want
look
to
at
know
Tiger,
how
like,
long
look
you
at Tiger,
train, right? I
look
want
at
to know how
Tiger
long you
Woods.
train. I want to know how long.
My 13-year-old son is listening and he just said that's not wrong. Like that's 100% correct.
Right. I want to know the story. Why did you want to climb the mountain in the first place? Who inspired it? How long did you train
Right.
to do it?
What's the
Right,
caption
looks
that
like-
goes with the photo? What's the caption that goes with the photo? Don't just post the
Hashtag
photo.
hoeing.
Yeah,
Hoeing it out.
yeah, stop
Oh,
pulling it out, man. Stop pulling your photo out.
I mean, look at, there's so many people even in the, you know, that are in the press or whatnot that, you know, are supposed to be like the models of, right, the pinnacle and the peak and the top and this, that, and like Tiger Woods being like a great metaphor for that. It's like, I don't really care that he's great at his sport or what he does, or I mean, that's cool. He's a golfer or whatever, you know, but what is more intriguing to me is the highs and lows, how he makes the comeback, what that he is normal, that he does fight with his wife and have problems with, you know, adultery, or that, just I want to know everything about people in exactly that, the journey and the details and things, not so much just like the top high moment. Okay, great. I mean, that's cool, but it's not that interesting.
Well, can we take that? That's a great point. Let's take that to the point of meeting people, new people, new friends, relationships, anything. Like we only end up meeting people new in the point of the life they're in at the moment. It's like we meet them when they're standing on their mountain.
Right.
So, and you know who's not going to tell us
Or
how
the
they got there?
bottom of the mountain,
Or right.
depending on where, it's
Right.
it's either one. I feel like it's sometimes you meet them at the bottom to lift them up to the top, or to help them climb and to lend that hand, or
Right.
other times you meet them at the top and maybe you're at the bottom.
Well, right. And it matters. It matters only in your head which part you're at. You could be at the bottom, both at the top of your life. But what nobody tells you, very rarely, that person doesn't tell you how the fuck they got there.
Right. They
It
don't
takes
show
a-
up
it-
with all their exes and
it
their
takes a
shitty
while
dad
to get
and, like,
that
all
out.
their stuff. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like, here's
pull
all
that
the
out of them.
garbage. Yeah.
Right. So like we meet a lot of people that we see the image of. It's no different than, the media we have, social media we have. Scratch that aside. We have none of that. We meet somebody and we see their real life picture, but it's only what they posted to us. And we're not seeing how the hell they got there, down or up. If we invest enough time, we gotta pull it out of them. We gotta spend months and time. This is why there's real life surveys and stats of relationships and how they last and how long they last and when they're good, when they're bad.
It's
Things
only
that
as
come out.
vulnerable as they want to be, right? It's only as vulnerable as they want to be.
Well,
Exactly.
that's fear-driven.
I was literally just gonna say, like, we're only, shown what they show us. Like if we haven't been there from day one, like they can tell us all this stuff or pick and choose what part of their story they want to
Right.
tell us. But if we're ignorant to the truth if they don't share that whole truth with
But
us.
I think what
So
did we
let's
do?
hold on, Portia, hold on. Before you say anything,
Okay.
I want to open it with this because this is how I wanted to open it because I want to get off topic here too much. You guys just said it. I want to open it to the fact, like, let's be solution based now, because usually we'll take our talk and we'll continue to talk on it. I want to try something different this week. I want to go solution based as a group here. What do we do in this small group as individuals? What do we do to change how that works? Got me? So we already know how it works. We're going to all just mirror each other right now because we're all on the same page. Let's talk about how we are the one, the Gandhi like stuff. We start to change so we can telephone that shit out. So when we meet somebody, what are the weapons we can use? We know to curve that time, to start to see, to let them trust maybe the process and the vulnerability sooner, to let them open.
To not necessarily just show us at the top of the mountain, but to maybe lead with all of the obstacles and things that we had to climb, to drag, to pick ourselves up as, and the people that we needed, this group, each other, lifting each other up, to get to the top of the mountain. You
So
know, don't just
you say
pretend
you
like
lead with
we're
it?
perfect and we didn't do that. Like show them the journey and not, you know, show them the good, the bad, the ugly.
So you
Right?
saying
It's-
you lead with it first?
I don't know that, I mean, they
Always.
might be scared, but
I
depending on
statements.
depending on
see.
what they need, you know,
Okay.
if they're in a dark place and they feel like, you know, everybody else has it all together, it could be, you know,
Read your crowd better?
yeah, you know, knowing who you're talking to and maybe judging their situation and the situation that they're in. I mean, reading the room, I think that
Right.
can certainly help. Maybe being able to just relate to somebody better and to let them know that, you know, they're not alone in their struggle and that we've all struggled and that we can get through it. And it's not easy to get through alone and that you need other people, and, you know, share the successes of being vulnerable and showing where it was hard to be vulnerable, but showing how much being vulnerable helped.
I like that. I want somebody else to go next. I'll tell you, before this, not this particular group, before I started the Zoe one and this whole like thing of group I started, I always saw, I preached vulnerability, but I always saw actual vulnerability in sharing my shit as a weakness that hurt other people. So I didn't see it as inspiring. So I never shared it. And it was actually doing the opposite. So I totally agree with you. When I started doing it in Zoe first and here, it only opened up all the doors to one, knowing that people needed to hear it, wanted to hear it. And it just reminded myself to hear me out loud, what I've done and both successes and failures, to hear it instead of just push it. So I like that. Who wants to go next? Let's use tools, weapons. What are we gonna do on the people around us that don't show up to these, that don't come talk to us like we talk to each other? We're gonna meet somebody new. How do we curve the process? How do we help them help us?
Be
Help us
kind
help them.
first. Be kind first.
Okay,
Be
elaborate.
kind first without the expectation or of the outcome, like even if you get rejected or shot down. Like
Okay,
you did what you wanted to do or thought you needed to do in that moment, and it was coming from your heart and it was coming from a positive space. So there was no harm around it. And if that was for them, like you feel good at the end of the day, what you put out.
So, and this will be the last time I cut in, and I want you guys, you know, I'll shut up and mute myself. But so I saved this quote to send to the group today. And it's like, the title is Kind, and it says, do you know that one of your greatest strengths is simply being kind? Yes, kind. You can change a life being kind. You can give hope by being kind. You can bring joy by being kind. So listen, and today choose to be kind. So I 100% piggyback off of what you just said.
nice. I like that.
You
That's
know
very
what I
good.
also think of, like, have you ever heard of be, do, have?
Bee as in like the insect,
Yeah, yeah.
honey. Go ahead.
So like your ways of being, right? A lot of times, like we get stuck in the doing. And so like if we show up in a way of being first, it's going to be much easier for the doing. And so like if we choose to be loving, we choose to be courageous, we choose to be vulnerable, right? Then it's going to help us to show up better. And I always think everything comes back to energy. I'll always come back to that because I think we
Yeah.
can always tell when people, you get good at reading energy of people, right? And you get good at reading that vibration of people. And so when we can be in that vibration of we're living it, right? Even to like the smallest degree of when we wash our dishes or like pump our gas or something, we're like living in that gratitude, you know, and we're not like, you know, even if it's 0 degrees out and we're showing up that way and we're putting out the frequency. And I always think like, I think it might be like a far stretch of like, it's not a tangible thing, but I think it really is because we get a reflection back of what we want, right? And so like we we being in that space and we being who we want creates more of what we want back to us. And then it's like, people can feel that. And so like, I think it's just like, it's going to create even more openness with someone. So like when we can show
Yeah.
up that way, like I know Amber gave the example of like, for months, a couple of the people at the Parkinson's, like they were not open to giving me a hug. Right. And so like, I just kept giving them that hug and I kept giving them this hug and they didn't really like it. And now they like it,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And so like, I think just because of that, I kept being in that way.
Let me say something off that, because I like that. And what I believe that we don't always have to be around to witness our effect on people. And I mean this, I mean, if you take into account what Portia just said and just consistently do that thing, consistently show up, consistently, you can sometimes witness with your eyes a failure in front of your eyes in that particular relationship, because maybe you guys split or they went away or you stopped knowing them. But I'm a huge believer in, if you're doing the right things and you're showing up consistently, even if that happens, you never see the person again, it's still made an impact. And it might not show up for years later. Maybe it never shows up all in the way you wanted, but I promise you the effort was not undone. And just because you can't see it sometimes does not mean you're not making a change in somebody's life. So just because it's unseen doesn't mean you need to stop showing up, because sometimes we do witness a failure right in front of our eyes to us. We think, I couldn't get through that person, or they just didn't like who I was, or
Yeah.
but it's never the truth.
I had I recently reinstated my Facebook page. And so then like I kept getting all of these friend requests.
That must be
And-
why you popped up on mine.
Yeah. And so I kept getting all these friends requests, and a couple of weeks ago, someone that I went to high school with, I had reached out to him, you know, because I saw that he was doing really well and like he was living in his authenticity of, you know, and I remember him, you know, as being, he had such good energy, right, in school. And, you know, we were always, we could feed off each other of that. But he had said to me, he had told me, and this is like, well, I don't know, almost 20 years later, he said that he had told me that, that exact what you just said. He said, you know, you have no idea the impact that you had on my life. And, you know, and I used to give him a ride home every single day from school. And he was a grade younger than me, but like, I never even thought about it. And like, here I was in that space, like 17 years old or something, and I'm having an impact on someone by just who I was. And, he said that I influenced him in his life, and whatever that meant to him, it meant something for him to still tell me today. And he said that he was always too afraid to tell me then, and he was just too shy to tell me then. But I mean, 20 years later is fine. You know what I mean? It's like never too
Amazing.
late in that way. And I was just like, I mean, yeah.
That's an amazing story. And this
Yeah.
is literally the point of
Yeah.
showing up every day.
Yeah.
Amber has a ton of these stories, because I've listened to them over the years. I don't know if she takes it in account like this, because I
Yeah.
think it happens a lot with her, but she's told me over the years tons of different stories of just like way later situations, you know, like, and sometimes when you're a powerful being, people are nervous to be near you in the way of like, hey, you're doing something well for me, or hey, thank you for your presence. It's hard for them to be appreciative of something, because they're not scared of you, but it is a bit of a intimidating thing when they feel like they're really looking at you that hard. Amber, are you waving at me, or are you waving at the dog?
I want to speak to that.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
I love what everybody said, and I'm glad that you said that too. I love, Lauren, what you said, just like the I statements, like coming in right away with like, you know, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, no matter who you're speaking with, just really coming from your own vulnerability and you know, be willing to tell your own story at any moment, and not the top of the mountain story, all the other stuff. Like, yeah, I had a really tough day too, or man, I didn't think I could get out of bed this morning, but I thought of you guys and I was really motivated to do so. Like I have to do that every day for work, but I put myself, and I think about this every single day of my life, because I was definitely some kind of weird princess, queen, king or something in some other life, because I don't want to work for a living, and I don't want to I honestly, I don't. I would volunteer. I would give it all away for free. I would do it all for free, blah, blah, blah. I won't get off the topic, but I put myself in positions, talking about what you said, using like tools or weapons or whatever it is. I put myself in positions to feel uncomfortable and be uncomfortable and to push myself past what I actually want to do voluntarily, so that I can see myself show up. I have to prove it to myself every single day. Like, I know I have a good heart. I know my intentions are good. I know what I feel. I know that I'm, weighted down by the feelings and emotions and pain of the world and things, but I still don't want to do shit most of the time. I'd rather just lay in the sun, float on a lake all freaking day long, every day of my life. But I know that I am supposed to do something big, because I do carry that around with me. And I look around and so many people aren't carrying shit with them. Like, they don't care that people are suffering every direction you look. And so I have just a couple of things to say. One, I wanted to say that, to your point, Mike, I have struggled a lot with like thinking like, here I am, like so nice and kind. And I think probably everybody in this group can identify with this part. Like, I show up, I'm kind to people, I'm nice, I'm willing to do whatever anybody needs, whatever and everything. Not everybody likes me. It's very love-hate with me. And I don't always, in my earlier life in adolescence, I didn't understand that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you like this bitch over here, but you don't like me? Like, or whatever it is, right? Or I just couldn't understand like people that were so much, and not me judging the world, but just knowing what people were bringing to the table as far as authenticity, love, kindness, real, authentic self. I wasn't seeing that
Showing
much.
up consistently.
Yeah, just, like honestly good. And then there's so many crappy, shallow people, and like they would be chosen over me 1,000 times for all kinds of weird popularity contests and things. And I was mad about that for a long time. But to your point, Mike, I read a thing just today about the empath mirror. And when you're an empath, part of your subconscious job that isn't our like conscious walking around knowledge, especially when we don't even know what it is to be an empath until later in our life, is that we're doing exactly that. People aren't comfortable around us because all their shame, all their guilt, all their weird, everything they've ever felt about themselves, all of a sudden feels really like everybody can see it around an empath. And they know that, people know that when they're around an empath. So they don't want to be around somebody who they think has their thumb on them already.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be seen. And part of human psyche is that, and we know this from dating and different scenarios in life, you really don't know anybody for like a solid year, because our psychology is so strong that we can wear a mask for like a whole year, maybe even like sociopaths and stuff, 10 years or whatnot, before even cracking to show someone who our real self is. So back to tools and what I do, and part of what my relationship with you, Michael, has taught me through the years and stuff is, instead of just going in, kicking down the door, trying to give what I think somebody needs, I think one of the greatest tools I have these days is to simply, to cut through the bullshit quicker, is to, if I feel something from someone, just ask them straight out, what do they need? Because nobody ever asks us what we need, because what if they actually need something? Then I got to do something, right? So I always ask, what do you need? I do try to speak from I statements as far as my own vulnerability. And then I just try to hold that space to say, doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter what you could possibly say right now or tell me, it's going to be okay. And we'll just get through this moment, and that moment passes. So those are my personal tools right now in my life, but it took me, most of my life to get there, because it used to just be straight, passion and crazy and rage and out of control.
Yeah,
I just want to say that I think I just keep coming back to you just showing up as you, right? And the people that are going to be inspired by you, or even if they're not showing up with you side by side, right? Even if they're not, they are still learning from you, right? They're still learning from you. They're watching your moves. Like, I mean, think about like people like that you may have looked up to that were, you know, like a mentor in a way, and maybe you never met them, but you did some of the implemented a lot of things that maybe they did. You know what I mean? All because they showed up that way and then it resonated with you. And that was, you took what you wanted from it. Like maybe it wasn't everything, but you just took what you wanted. And like, that's what worked for you. And I
Yeah.
think I just come back to, if we keep showing up with who we are, you know, and people are gonna be like, oh, you know what? I like what Mike's doing over there. You know, maybe I need to get to know him.
Well, look at the global, what you just said, look at the global version of that, the more, this to me matters less to me, but look at the global version, like the easiest way to paint. Millions of people look up to celebrities, politicians, famous people, all these things that we have like up here, right? This like famous, this word famous, like there's millions of people. From just the perspective only, that in something they do inspires millions of people to act on something else with never meeting them, knowing them, or actually knowing their true character, shows you the power in which you can lead. If
Right.
you are actually wide open and vulnerable and available to this group of people you have around you. Doesn't have to be millions, but I believe that you can have more impact totally on the 10 people around you than Michael Jordan can have on a million fucking people that they inspired me to play basketball. Big fucking whoop. You might have played anyway. I'm saying collective impact. I think we have more in this group than any of that superficial shit. And I just use that as an easy example. And I don't mean just celebrities. I just mean like when you look at something and you're so focused on what you see yourself in that person as, instead of wanting to know all the shit we just talked about, the journey. That's the problem we're having as a human race. We don't want to look at all shit. We just want to look at them on the mountain and go, holy fuck, I want to be up there too, looking at the sunset. That looks cool as shit.
Right.
Above the
You don't want to
clouds.
work hard to get there.
Yeah, because somebody fly me up there and drop me off in a chopper next to them so I can get a pic. I
Yeah.
mean,
But-
that's
And if
the
that
truth.
happened,
So,
you know what? You'd never appreciate it because, you know, just like a video game, if you
100%.
skip into a shortcut, you don't have the
Right.
tools, weapons, and the shields and the armor that you need to fight the big guy at the end, right? So like,
100%.
Right. And if you know so many people, like, I mean, like, look at like, I mean, I know so many people, they're very successful and have unlimited access to all kinds of materialistic things. But for them to get there, you know, that was the whole, it puts into perspective who they are, right? And they still have a good character because of it. And they could tell you the story of how they got there. Like, yeah, they were poor at one time. Like, and it's just like, you know, you think of Gary Vee or Ed Milet, like all of those people, Tony Robbins, they all had a shit story that got them to where they are. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like they were living in the unknown for years because they didn't know what was going to happen or where they were going to go.
I think the
Hey,
biggest thing I had an old employee reach out to me and he thanked me for firing him.
Yeah.
He left a caliper bolt loose on a customer's car, and you know, that's safety. That's putting a family, not only a family, that's putting multiple people at danger. Like that caliper came loose, that person couldn't break through on the interstate, so on and so forth. I had like no tolerance for that. And so I fired him, and it was a hard one because he was a loyal employee and we had worked together for a long time. And he reached out about a year ago and he thanked me for firing him. And he said that because I fired him, it made him a better tech, a better person, and that he always double checks his work. He's never had a comeback since, and so on and so forth. And it just took me back to like a situation that was really rough for me. I can only imagine how rough it was for them, but the impact of holding that person accountable and, you know, opening them up to that made such a difference in their life and their career. Like they're an A-tech now. They are making twice what they made before. And, you know, for them to look at it and be appreciative, like, hey, thanks for calling me out on that. I thought that was.
That's
I think
that's the maybe answer right there. Jason,
Yeah.
Jason, I want to know your weapon, dude. Tell me. What's in your tool belt when you speak to new people? You gotta unmute yourself. Hold on. Go ahead. Hit it on your phone. I just unmuted you.
That
There you
work?
are. Yeah, so tell me,
Yeah, just like.
give me your secret weapon. What makes you you? What makes you
Like
connect? What makes people to connect to you?
Like for
Hold on.
Yeah, what? Shoot.
Hold on.
Like
Don't tell too much. You're
work,
frozen. Don't be telling us too much. Hold on, you're frozen. Move to a different part of
my
your
old
house.
boss from 30 years ago. He's a good guy,
Hey,
but
hey.
butt heads.
Hey, move to a different place in your house.
Yep, there you go.
So, that work?
Yeah, okay, go
That
ahead.
work?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, start
Yeah, like today-
over, Jason. Start
like today
over.
at work. Okay. I was at work today and my old boss from 35 years ago, he's been there for 40, whatever, but from 28 years ago, he hired me and I learned a lot of work ethics from him. I meant to get stuff done, no sitting around, keep busy. And this like county, I don't understand, but they started this, they just want to look good, a 24-hour shift. I don't know how they do it with the union. The union, whatever. But anyway, but I told Rick today, I said, Rick, I sure learned a lot from you because right now, I said, this place is going downhill. I said, everybody could have been here at 4 o'clock and everybody could have went home at 4 o'clock. But the county wants everybody to just to look good, rotate and shift. I said, Rick, this is a joke. I said, I'm working my butt off up here on the hill to get all this plowed. And that other guy, they don't let him come in till 9 now, the rotate and shift, make the county look good, 24/7. And he could have been out there at 4 o'clock on my hill or Riggs Hill, another hill, and saving all them people for going to work. But no, the county's got to look good. I shouldn't talk, I'm working for them, but the county's got to look good and keep a 24-hour shift now against the union, I think. But so it took like an extra 6 hours today just to get to them roads. And I told Rick today, my old boss, I said, you sure taught me a lot. I said, nowadays, these guys don't know how to even, keep the ball rolling now without, it's just different.
So you used gratitude though,
Yeah,
and
I did.
You were grateful for the person who trained you, and that diffused your frustration for the new ways because you were lucky enough to have someone teach you the right way. It's a big deal.
Philip, real quick, you can text her, right? Or just say nothing if you can't hear, but Philip's in a place in California. He took on this pretty cool job, managing this like cool ranch they're building. And anyway, he's in a space in Northern California. He really doesn't have great audio or internet really ever. And he's been joining us. Phil, do you want to say anything? I don't even know if you can actually talk and I know you're on mute listening to us all the time, but maybe blink twice. You there? Yeah, I don't know if he can. His internet's dodgy, but anyway, I want to share. This is crazy. This is not crazy, but it is crazy. While we're sharing all this stuff, I was going to tell you about a note that I got from this girl I've known for a long time. I used to talk to her all the time because she was running a client of mine, a very famous client out of Los Angeles. She was a personal assistant. And I talked to her like every other day for like 3 years because this guy was a pain in the balls, like complete pain in the ass. Every way you could think a celebrity could be a dick. This was this guy. Always kind to me, but just a dick. Anyway, talk to this woman all the time. Something bad happened, got fired, moved to another place. That guy became my client because of her, talked to her a lot. Then that went really bad. And then we kind of lost touch, but I consistently tagged her in everything we've done for the past year and a half, from Zoe to these to every once in a while, just sending her messages saying, I know you're doing amazing. She had to move back to her parents because shit got crazy. She was just going through a lot, but I just continually just sent her stuff and then always tagged her, made sure she had the videos after, sent them to her. And she really didn't respond much at all, like very little. So I want to share a message because what's fucking hilarious is she just texted me while we're on the phone and she never texts me. So she writes, I just wrote, she's doing some stuff with her art and some things she's always wanted to do in her life, finally embraced it and took a leap. So I've just been like on her ass about how strong that is, how amazing that is. Like it's harder than anybody thinks. Don't ever sell yourself short. I've just been writing her shit. Simple one-liners stuff. She wrote, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying everything you always do. I'm never there for you to respond, but you need to know that your words got me through the roughest times of my life. And now I feel like we, parentheses, get to celebrate. I'll never forget that. That's the first message I've gotten from her in a long time, like anything.
Right. Well, we're talking about this
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
that was before Christmas.
still.
So just now, I asked her to commission a piece of art for me. After that message, I said, look, I want a piece from you. You're going to be somebody like, I want the ground floor work because she's doing amazing things. So I asked her to do this project for somebody else, commission. And she just wrote this thing like, hey, I've been doing so much research on this project you want me to do. I still have about 20 more codes to do on this thing, but you're officially in the queue. She goes, I could never let you down. This one's going to be super special. Like, this is what I'm talking about on the whole. You don't know. You just don't know. You don't know what's happening when you're doing things all the time. And it's not our job to know. If she never would have wrote that, I would have never stopped. Just the same way Portia never stops. Like, it's not about what you get back. It's about showing up for yourself with the consistency. Prove to yourself that you can continue to do something over and over more than once. That's why all these things, like I want to start the gym or quit smoking or quit drinking or do, that's why all these things suck, because you get to a certain point of break and can I do another day? It's only proving it to yourself, right? We're just trying to prove these things to ourselves when we're consistent with somebody else. Yeah, does it hurt sometimes? Like Amber mentioned, like, why the fuck isn't any, why isn't, what do you mean you don't like me? Like, or what, like, what do you mean you're not going to respond? Or what do you mean you're too busy to talk? Like, all I do is fucking show up. But the point is, we're really just, everything we're doing is an audition for ourselves every day, right? Our journey is just an audition for ourselves. We're always just searching out this self-love and self-worth and self-acceptance. And when you get to the point, you start to realize that it doesn't matter what you get back.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
I think like what Amber said, like when somebody doesn't like you or they come off as they don't like you, you have to remember it has nothing to do with you, right? A lot of times when someone doesn't text you back, I mean, I've texted people and like, I don't know, even like 5 months later, they've texted me back, or I've done something like you said. And years later, somebody was like, you sent me that just when I needed it, or whatever it was. But I think like, yeah, I just think you have to just remember like that's their stuff and whatever they're going through, it's not you, and it can make us feel like it can bring up a lot of our old emotions and make us feel like, what did we do wrong? Or, why is that happening? Or what's wrong with us? But I really just stand firm in that you just have to remember that you showed up as you fully and you know what you did. And if that wasn't where they needed you to be at that moment, just like Michael said, it's not that it might not have not made an impact, because I think it always does. And I've had so many people, like I tell you, this Facebook thing has been very interesting. And like so many people connecting with people from high school. And, I'm very good at seeing in people like what I see in them. And I have no problem letting them know what I see in them. And people just like Amber's talked about this. Sometimes people aren't ready to hear that, or they don't know how to take it. And the message goes silent, like, and I never hear back from them ever again. And that's okay. Like, and I mean, at first it would kind of like, I would feel like kind of stupid in a way and be like, oh, Jesus, I just like threw my whole heart on the line there. But now it's just like, you know what, that's what a leader does. Like, that's how they show up. Because if we don't do that and we don't inspire that in people and we don't inspire what we see in them, we're doing them a disservice.
And we can't waver. We have to stay strong and be
Right.
who we are.
And-
Like it's that
and at-
consistency, Michael, always. that
And
we
I
talk
think at
about.
the end of the day, what did I lose, right? I didn't lose anything. I gained more courage,
What did we say? Jesus never whined, did he?
right?
I mean,
Right.
talk
I mean,
about
think
fail-
about-
failing all the time. In the eyes
Yeah.
of what failure is. I mean, every human he came in contact with thought he was a failure. I mean, Jesus. I mean, Jesus. Wait, I mean, Jesus. Wait. I mean, Jesus. I mean, Jesus.
Right, right.
Listen,
I think,
I
mean,
gotta cut you short because
Yeah.
I am going to pass out. I just drove back from Long Island. I feel like poopy. I love you guys. I'd stay out all night, but as you can hear my voice.
all right, well, thanks for showing up.
I appreciate you. I love you. God bless. I
Love
hope
you
everybody had an
all.
Amazing Christmas and got to do all the things and looking
Well,
forward
happy-
to this new year and a new season of life. You know,
Yeah. We got a lot to do.
Thanks,
this year.
Mike.
love you guys. Appreciate you.
Love you
Hey,
guys.
guys, love you.
All have a good
Bye,
night.
love y'all.
Bye.